Welcome to this week's GCN Tech Clinic, where you submit your questions and then we answer them. But before I get started, if you remember the other week, I asked you guys a bit of a fun question, and turns out nearly everyone got the answer right. So I don't know if you Googled it or not. But first up, let's go with our first question, which comes from Just Going Outside, who asks, I wanted to start using latex inner tubes for some important events I've got coming up, but I can't find latex inner tubes with long enough valves. What is best? To use a valve extender? Or can you change the length of the valve? Or am I being stupid and there just are long enough valves? With this, how much deeper should the valve be than the wheels? Well, there almost certainly normally are a number of different latex inner tubes that come in varying valve lengths, so short ones for shallow wheels or longer valves for deeper wheels. And you just have to shop around a little bit for them. Sometimes not everywhere keeps all of the different sizes that are available. But if you're really struggling, yeah, you can use a valve extender. It's just a case of removing the valve core, screwing the extender in nice and securely, and then putting the valve core back in. And the other question, how much deeper should the valve be than your wheels? Well, there is no sort of set specific measurement for this, but provided you can get your pump onto the end of the valve okay, that'll be perfect. Next question is from Seth Adam, who asks, once you repair a tubeless tyre with a plug, how long and how much can you rely on it in terms of safety? Can you ride down alpine descents, for example? Will it last the lifetime of the tyre? In terms of the safety of a tubeless tyre repair with a plug, providing it's not leaking and doesn't deflate, there should be no issue in terms of the safety of that. I don't think you need to be concerned about the plug dislodging itself or anything like that. And it should last just as long as your tyre. I'd imagine chances are you'll wear your tyre out or end up with a puncture that ruins the tyre before the plug has any sort of issue with it at all. So I wouldn't be concerned. Next question is from Thomas H, who asks, hi, I'd like to store my bikes vertically against my garage wall, but I've heard the hydraulic disc brakes don't like it and it could lead to bubbles in the oil. But also, I've seen bike shops storing their bikes this way. What is your advice? Yeah, I wouldn't be too concerned about that. Providing your hydraulic system has got no air in it in the first place, which it shouldn't have because there should be no air in there if it's been bled correctly in the first place, I don't see it being any issue to store your bikes vertically on the wall. In fact, I actually store my bikes like that myself in my own garage and have never had any issues. And like you say, many bike shops do that too. However, if your brakes haven't been bled correctly, then chances are you might run into a bit of an issue because that air will work its way up to the brake lever, and that's when you might find you have a spongy brake or the lever pulls quite far back to the bar. So you should be fine. Next up, we've got Chris Bruce, who asks, I've ordered a gravel bike that's due at the end of the month, but the wheels are a little porky. If I take my 38mm Prime Black Edition road wheels and put some gravel tyres on them, do you think they could take it? I won't be riding anything too rocky, and after checking on the Hunt's website for the wheel dimensions, they aren't that different to their gravel wheels. Yeah, I think you'll be fine. Road bike wheels should be perfectly fine on a gravel bike. Granted, they aren't specifically designed for that, but like you say, you're not going to be riding anything too rocky and too extreme, so I think you should be perfectly fine. And if anything, having the chunkier gravel tyres will protect the wheels a little bit and saves you having to buy a second set of wheels. Next in, we've got Clark Evans, who asks, hi GCN Tech, I struggle to reach the brakes and the gears when riding on the drops. Is there anything I can do to bring the levers closer to my fingers? Yes, there is. It depends what brake levers you've got, or brake and shift levers on your road bike, but most of them do actually have a little grub screw underneath the rubber cover that you can screw in and will remove some of the excess travel in the brake lever, so it pulls it closer in towards the handlebars, meaning your smaller hands can reach it a lot easier. Each sort of different group set has a slightly different method of doing this, but most of them have a small grub screw that allows you to do so. Next question is in from Little Dan, who asks, how long should you leave it until you get new tyres for your bike? That is a very open-ended question because it depends how far you ride, what terrain you ride on, how heavy you are, how hard you pump your tyres up. But basically, lots of tyres have a little tread wear indicator inside the tread. It tends to be a little dot that's recessed slightly in. And when you see that go smooth, that's when you know you need to replace your tyres. Lots of different manufacturers will do it a slightly different way, but that's the most common method that you'll see. And chances are you'll probably end up puncturing your tyre or catching it on a flint or something long before you've worn it out. If anything, like me, you ride on lots of rubbish, rocky roads with stones everywhere. So I'm sure they'll last quite a long time. But our final question is from David Morton, who asks, is there anywhere to send old bike chains so that the metal can be recycled or repurposed? It seems quite wasteful just to throw it away. Oh, I like that one. And I was wondering this myself because I've not actually heard of anywhere you can send bike chains to be recycled specifically. I mean, you could take them to your local household recycling centre and mix them in with scrap metal, and I'm sure they'll get recycled that way. But in terms of something specific for bike chains, I've not heard of that. But if anyone knows of something, then get it down in the comments section below because I'd be keen to find out myself. And that's it for this week's GCN Tech Clinic. I hope that's helped you out, and always keep your questions coming in the comment section down below using the hashtag AskGCNTech. See you later.